Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, supervisor won't seek another term, census news coming soon, and local chainsaw sculptor prepares to undergo life-saving heart surgery.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Here are some important dates to keep in mind concerning the upcoming 2020 U.S. Census. Between March 12th and March 20th, households will begin to receive mail from the Census Bureau containing detailed information on how to respond to the 2020 census online by phoning or by mail. Wednesday, April 1st, is when Census Day will officially be observed nationwide. By that date, according to the Census Bureau, every home will have received an invitation to participate in the 2020 census. From May to July, census takers will begin visiting homes not responded in order to ensure everyone is counted. It's important everyone participate in the census and get counted. The count will determine how much federal dollars Michigan will receive for the next 10 years to use towards schools, hospitals, roads, human services, and more.
Things have changed since Bill Dunn was appointed supervisor of Oxford Township in 1999, notably the public's perception of township government. During his tenure, Dunn was a key factor in the United Township Board, which has moved the community into fiscal security and proactive governing of growth and development. 21 years supervisor, Dunn is ready to hand over the well-functioning machine. His departure comes with the support of the candidate and township trustee, Jack Curtis, stating he cannot think of another person who would be more qualified for the position based on his 14 years combined experience on the Township Board, Planning Commission, and Economic Committee. While November will mark the end of a very successful era, Dunn will still be around and hopes to keep the supervisor position close to home.
The flu season is upon us, and if you are one of those people who contends to never get the flu shot, you may want to reconsider. Physician assistant Christy Jacob of the Glennon Medical Group in Oxford says it is a misconception. The flu shot can give you the flu. The flu vaccine is a dead vaccine, which means it only contains viruses dead or inactive. People who have been vaccinated, however, can still get the flu, and there is a potential side effect of the flu-like symptoms. Jacobs said another misconception about the vaccine is the belief that it protects against the stomach flu. In fact, the vaccine only targets influenza, the respiratory flu. In addition to getting the flu shot, Jacob recommends common sense precautions like hand washing, coughing into your sleeve instead of your hand, and staying hydrated and staying away from others who have the symptoms. Established patients of Glennon Medical can get a flu shot there. Otherwise, folks can go to the local pharmacist, or if they are uninsured, the walk-in clinic at North Oakland Health Center.
Whether you voted for or against legalization of recreational or adult use marijuana, here's an opportunity to make your voice heard. On February 12th, Michigan's Marijuana Regulatory Agency will hold a public meeting to receive public comments on the proposed combined topic-based rule sets. The hearing will take place in Lansing at the Williams Building at 9:30 a.m. The proposed rule sets are intended to provide clarity and consistency to those working in both the medical and adult use markets. They are intended to provide for implementation of a program to license medical and adult use marijuana businesses. Public comments on the proposed topic-based rules may be presented in person at the public hearing, via email to mralegal@michigan.gov. The Williams Building is located at 525 West Ottawa Street in Lansing.
This month, Oxford Township Communications and Grants Manager C.J. Canarchio hopes to move the township one step closer to fulfilling its safety path goals by submitting an application to the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan for a $50,000 grant. The grant would pay for the topographical survey and engineering design for the future construction of an asphalt safety path along the west side of North Oxford Road. According to the township's release, being shovel-ready will make the project more attractive and competitive when it comes to pursuing other outside funding. Township engineer Jim Sharp estimates the entire project, including the $50,000 per survey and design, will cost over $590,000. The $50,000 being sought is from the Design and Access Fund, part of the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Legacy Funds. The Design and Access Fund is for projects related to increasing the walkability and bikeability of local communities and/or increasing outdoor recreational activities within the region.
Congratulations are in order to Oxford Township trustee Jack Curtis, who was re-elected today as one of the 3 vice presidents for Oakland County chapter of the Michigan Townships Association. Curtis attends the chapter's quarterly meetings to focus on critical nature of the 2020 U.S. Census and ways to promote it and increase public participation in the crucial decennial population count. Decennial. Said that wrong.
To help ensure Pollyant Trail users stay safe during the M24 construction project, scheduled to begin in March, the Trail Management Council authorized Trail Manager Linda Moran to have temporary bollard stop signs placed on east and west sides of the trail. During the construction, the portion of M24 between Drainer Road and Gateway Drive will be closed to all northbound traffic. Northbound traffic will be detoured. As part of the detour route, some temporary measures will be implemented to help keep detoured traffic from driving through during the construction period. Take it slow. Pay attention to your surroundings, keep your cool, and be courteous. Obey traffic control devices and the speed limit. Stay safe. We're all in this together.
A bill that would increase the ability for larger scale foster homes providing care environments for Michigan children moved one step closer last month. House Bill 4095 allows the state licensed residential youth foster care facilities to house up to 10 children if the facility is located on 20 or more acres of property. Under current law, a state licensed residential facility is structured that services 6 or fewer individuals. The basis for the bill is to allow child foster care facilities, such as the House of Providence, to accommodate additional children. In December, by a 3-to-1 vote, the Senate Government Operations Committee moved the legislation onto the Senate Committee of the Whole. However, other area lawmakers expressed opposition to the bill.
The mood was friendly but critical when Oakland County Executive David Coulter visited Oxford Public Library for a town hall this month. The meet and greet was part of a series called York County with David Coulter, where residents can meet the new executive and share their ideas about the future of the county with him. Coulter, a Democrat, replaced longtime Republican County Executive L. Brooks Patterson after his death last August. The Board of Commissioners appointed Coulter to fill the position in a narrow 11-to-10 vote along party lines August 16th to serve the remainder of Patterson's term until the end of 2020 when Patterson died. Coulter was serving as mayor of Ferndale and did not seek the position. In next week's edition of the Oxford Leader, see what else the new Coulter executive had to say about the locals.
If you're not looking for them, they can be easily missed. But for travelers on Baldwin Road, every day is a cruise through 53-year-old Gary Elzerman's portfolio of wood carvings. Raised in Lake Orion, Elzerman now lives on the west side of Baldwin Road on the border of Orion and Oxford. For 25 years, he has been a self-employed chainsaw sculptor, creating thousands of pieces for local businesses, residents, and charities, as well as celebrities such as Kid Rock and Clint Black. Confusing and impressive. In October of 2018, however, everything changed for Elzerman when he was diagnosed with a bicuspid aortic valve, ascending aortic root aneurysm, and a coarctation of the aorta. Early on in his diagnosis, plans to treat the condition were on the fast track. However, plans shifted when doctors suggested waiting 6 more months and checking the natural progress of the condition, but by November, Elzerman's heart had gotten worse. On January 31st, Gary and his wife Paula will travel to Ohio Cleveland Clinic for the open heart surgery needed to correct his condition. Elzerman's champion and longtime friend Neil Sorrell is a co-creator of a GoFundMe page in order to help offset the family's expenses. While the estimated goal is $250,000, as of Monday, GoFundMe raised nearly $30,000 to donate for assistance to the Elzerman family for living and medical expenses. And you can visit their GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com and enter life-saving surgery for Gary Elzerman, and that's ELZERMAN in the search bar. Good luck, Gary.
If you're an Oxford Township sewer customer, the township can help ensure your sewer bill gets paid on time every quarter. Sign up today for the township's automatic sewer bill payment program. It's simple. Just fill out and submit the form available on the township website. Then the balance owed will be automatically deducted from your checking or savings account on the 20th day of the month in which the quarterly sewer payment is due. Sewer bills are due in January, April, July, and October. To obtain the form online, visit www.oxfordtownship.org.
There's a lot of information in the news this week.
There was.
And our hearts go out to Gary Elzerman. He's been the subject of our interviews several times and very well known in the community.
He's a very talented man. I've driven by his operation over there, and he has displays. It's just amazing, some of the articulate work he's done.
Right, it's
a
pleasure. And every time you go by there, there's something different. And now his daughter's doing those cute little birdhouses that you see. So best wishes to them.
Yeah, I'd like to comment also on Supervisor Bill Dunn.
Yes.
He's going to be leaving as supervisor. He's done a terrific job. As you know, I serve as trustee on that board. And I can tell you, everything is well organized.
Yeah, right.
And as far as Jack Curtis running for office, I think it's a great idea. He's very detailed in what he does, very knowledgeable.
Right.
Good fit.
It's a good suggestion. We don't quite know who else is going to be running against him. It's nice to see that Bill's supporting somebody. The township sure is going to look different no matter who's in there without Bill being there. I don't even know what to say about that. We started out getting to know one another. I was the president of the village council, and there was a lawsuit at that time, so we kind of started out a little brisk, salty maybe, and he's just been a champion for us, and I really appreciate everything that he's done for the township. And I will say, the village and the township got along a lot better after he and I got a little salty with each other, but he's a great person, great champion for this township.
I've found whenever there's issues, communication is the key to resolving things.
Exactly, right. And that was really nice to be able to have that. I kind of was new at the whole business, and it was really nice to have Bill to communicate with, because he's always open to communication, regardless of whether he agrees with you or not. He's open to that discussion, and that's what makes for a good leader, I have to say.
Well, regardless what he decides to do after this, leaving the office, I wish him the very best. I know you do.
Me too.
In the studio.
And good luck to whoever runs for
Yes.
that position.
Yes.
So that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader, or better yet, catch us on our website, OCCTV.org, and on YouTube, and of course our regular cable channels, Spectrum Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with School Sports, School News, incorporating great topics with River Tuck. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
Fun name to say, isn't it, River Tuck? I'm
Yes, it
Terry
is.
Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News This Week, where we bring you news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Hello, Oxford parents and students. My name is River Tuck, and welcome back to School News on OCTV. I hope you all had a great day off in celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. and all that he did to make our country a better place. There has been no shortage of stories this past week, so let's jump straight into our recap. Just last week, I headed up to the high school to see our Oxford cheer team not only host the Invitational, but take home the win too. Congratulations, girls. For everyone at home, here is a quick clip of that. What a great performance from our cheer team, and what a great turnout for that competition. Thank you to all of the other competitors who came out to the high school and gave it their all. As I pointed out over the last couple school news editions, the Oxford Public Library has finally opened its exhibit, A Celebration of Abundance, Michigan Farming. I headed out to that opening last week to get you all a first-hand look at some of the exhibit and what you're missing. Take a look. We here at OCTV love to see the Oxford community come out for events like these. The library was packed and there were lots of friendly faces. Not much else you can ask for on opening night. That exhibit will stay up, so please go check it out and all of the other great activities the library has in store this month. Speaking of community activities here in Oxford, last week I headed out to the Oxford Orion Fish Food Pantry to volunteer and capture a little slice of what one of their big volunteer days looks like.
Individuals can go to our website, which is oxfordorionfish.org. We have a link on there to sign up Genius. It shows the different volunteer opportunities on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 11, and then also the second Saturday of the month. We're here from 10 to noon. And then as we move forward, there'll be also opportunities with our community garden and other major projects.
That is an absolutely amazing new facility right on 24. When I talk about local charities, this is as local and fundamentally important to our community as any of them. Please do reach out to the pantry and find out how you can volunteer your time today. One last great story out of last week, and one that's becoming a great tradition. Oxford teachers Josh Smukovitz and Jason Caddy told the students they would spend the night on the roof if their classes raised the most money for the American Cancer Society through their recent Middle School Spirit Week fundraisers. Of the $7,510 raised, their students personally raised $1,757. The teachers stayed up all night live streaming the event, and I joined them and captured a slice of the night. Take a look.
River Tuck. I'm recording live stream to show the school news tomorrow on OCTV. Any words for the community? Yeah, we got words for the community. Thanks for being awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the support, and just everything. This has been awesome. This has been another great experience.
The whole reason we're on the roof is to celebrate the generosity of our Oxford middle school students, elementary students, high school students, our staff.
If that's what it takes, that's what Oxford will do. There are those stories and more which will be filling up the Schooling Around program that is out now. To see and hear more about all of the great charities I checked out last week, please tune into that or check it out on YouTube. That is it for last week. Now for a handful of upcoming dates from the calendar. The only thing to watch out for on the calendar this week is this Friday, the 24th. OMS has a Mismatch Spirit Day, and Leonard is hosting their Leonard Pride Assembly. Always glad to see school spirit events like that this month. After that, the month is going to wrap up pretty quick, but there are two things to remember for the last week of the month. On the 28th, the Mr. Oxford event takes place at the high school, and trust me, you don't want to miss that. On the 30th, the OHS Dance Conservatory takes place, and just like Mr. Oxford, you do not want to miss that either. So with those dates in the calendar, I expect all of you to have a busy rest of the month. That will do it for all of the time I have here this week. Thank you for tuning into Oxford, and be sure to keep an eye on your YouTube and Facebook for all updates on more school news. As always, for your school news, I've been River Tuck. Until next time, Oxford.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, 1 million seabirds that died along the U.S. West Coast were probably the victims of an unprecedented marine heat wave in the Pacific. Such events are expected to become more frequent due to climate change. About 62,000 common moors washed ashore from summer of 2015 to spring of 2016 between Alaska and California, most having apparently starved. Researchers extrapolate that this means around 1 million died in total. The amazing question is, how could 1 million die over 6,000 kilometers pretty much all at the same time, and what could cause it, says John Piet of the U.S. Geological Survey. Members of the species have died en masse in the past, but in far smaller numbers and only at a local level. The magnitude of the deaths from 2015 to 2016 is also unusual because the moors are so well adapted to their environment. They are fast and capable of diving deep for their main diet of fish. The killer apparently appears to be the blob, a vast record-breaking patch of warm water that occurred off the west coast of North America between late 2013 and 2016. Looking at surveys of the beach moors, sea surface temperatures, and fisheries data, Piat and his colleagues say the most plausible explanation is that the birds were outcompeted as the warmer waters caused cold-blooded species such as cod to eat far more fish in an effort to regulate their temperature. Moors need to eat half their body mass each day, while cod only need to eat 1% of their body mass, and the birds die after 3 to 5 days without food. It's very convincing, and I would actually say it's fairly conclusive, he says. There are very little else that could have caused the extensive effects they document, says Andrew Lacing of the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Piat and his colleagues ruled out the idea that the birds were killed by some of the toxic algae blooms that the blob spawned after toxic levels in the birds were found to be below those that have caused past die-offs. Last year, the UN Climate Science Panel warned that marine heat waves will become more common because of climate change. Lacing says there are indications that the blob has returned, but over a smaller area, so the effect on birds is likely to be less severe this time. Piat says that while moors are in no danger of extinction, the U.S. West Coast populations could take decades to recover. These heat waves are going to have a jarring effect on our ecosystems, he says. In our next story, bipedalism is such a precarious way to get about that few species have settled on it. Yet, despite the absurdity of moving while trying to balance on 2 tiny platforms, we rarely give our steps a second thought. Perhaps we should. Although we all walk more or less the same way, there is enough variation between individuals to easily tell people apart. Such differences could even be used as a biometric password. Some quirks of gait can be problematic, though. Small variations in leg swing could mean your heel hits the floor with enough force to damage the knee cartilage. Cases of knee osteoarthritis have doubled in the past 50 years, which some people say is too fast to be explained by longer lifespan or even rising obesity. In that period, though, shoes have become more supportive, which may encourage a more forceful stride. Walking barefoot or in flat and flexible minimalist shoes reduces the stress on your knees. High heels, surprisingly, unsurprisingly that is, do the opposite. The way that you walk can also affect your outlook. In experiments, people manipulated into walking with an upbeat gait remembered more positive words from a list, whereas those who walk with a sad gait remembered more negative words. Nearly anyone holding a smartphone is likely to walk with their gaze toward the floor. And this not only slows you down, but risks neck strain and possible injury. If you want to improve your walking technique, the internet is awash with guides. However, biomechanics researcher Richard Jones at the University of Salford in the UK said there is little evidence that changing your gait reduces your future risk of injury. Gait is variable, and that is fine unless there are symptoms, he says. What matters more about walking is how much we do, not how, says evolutionary anthropologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard University. Studies of modern hunter-gatherers and super healthy postal workers indicate that we should aim for about 2 hours of brisk walking a day. Most of us manage only a fraction of that. So never mind your idiosyncratic gait, just do it. Where have I heard that before? Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
What's going on, Wildcat fans? Cody right back here for this week's sports report. We got a lot to go over: hockey, basketball, swim and dive, and bowling. So let's take a look. Starting off with hockey, our Oxford and Avondale United team had a tough week, first taking on Bloomfield Hills yet again. The first place team we beat 1-0 just before the holiday. Bloomfield came out ready this time, and it was a tough night. By the end of it, falling 10-2. Keep in mind, Jake Billis is out with an injury, a broken collarbone, I'm pretty sure. He is one of our top guys. The boys also took on West Bloomfield in an outdoor game at Clark Park. I remember playing there when I played for Oxford, and it's something I doubt these guys will forget. Despite the 3-1 loss, though, to the Lakers, it was a great experience and a memorable moment for sure in a hockey career. On the flip side, though, the boys basketball team took on very tough competitors of Southfield A&T on Tuesday here at home. If you missed it, you missed something you don't see often in basketball. Now, right off the bat, I'll tell you, these guys ended up falling in OT 69-68 when Southfield hit a buzzer beater three to secure the win. That right there should tell you it was an exciting game. But the fact of the matter is that Oxford was trailing by 21 points in the third quarter. And then something happened. I can't tell you what it was. We were flat in the first half. Southfield really hit their shots, but the guys grinded away, and before we knew it, we had the lead. Southfield tied it back up to take it into overtime, and in OT, I'd say we still controlled the tempo. That second half of basketball, we saw a completely new team that really gets me excited for the rest of the season. Trey Townsend had one of the best games I've seen him play, with an incredible 30 points and 12 rebounds. Another name I specifically want to mention is Mason Mulholland. He was on as well. As many as a lot of other guys played great as well. Unfortunately, Zach Townsend came out early with what looked like an ankle injury. We hope it's nothing too serious. The boys' record is now 4-2. Nothing on the girls basketball team this week. They've been on the road taking on Rochester, Adams, and Avondale. We'll have the results on that next week, as well as their return home taking on Notre Dame Prep, which is on this Friday. Also, the boys' swim and dive team took on Bloomfield Hills in unknown water. However, that didn't matter to us. The boys took the meet with 104-82, hardly a close matchup. The boys were pretty dominant. And lastly, our boys and girls bowling teams talk about dominant with a recent state championship title to defend. Our bowling program this year still remains undefeated. The boys and girls taking on Troy Athens at Escape Lanes. The boys pummeling them 25-5, and the girls destroying them 29-1. I don't think I have to say much. These scores say everything. The question is, do we have another state title in mind? I think it's safe to say we are in the running. Anyhow, that's all for this week's report. For any more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. There's plenty of game breakdowns, statistics, and more all right there for you to check out. Once again, that is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through our website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's all for this week's report. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats!
Welcome to Oxford Community Television. We are proud that our 4 communities continue to choose local programming, local news, sports, community issues, familiar faces, celebrations, and commitment to each other. Welcome to Oxford Community Television.